The White House just paused nearly $1.5 billion in funding for home health care and hospice providers and has announced they will not be allowing any more of those companies to enroll in Medicaid. This is fantastic news for the country, as the federal government is finally going after fraud. But for some reason, Democrats have completely ignored the story. We'll get into why the Democrats should be on the front lines cheering this on in a bit. But first, we need to cover the investigation that led to this announcement. It all started last February when Elon Musk's DOGE published a data set that let the public see what companies are billing Medicaid for. Luke Rosiak, investigative reporter at the Daily Wire, scoured through this data and found something strange in Columbus, Ohio, the city with the second largest Somali community in the country. It wasn't the Somali community that made him focus there, it was the massive number of home healthcare companies receiving Medicaid payments. This building that I'm showing you now houses 94 different companies that all bill to Medicaid. It's unclear from his reporting if every single one is classified as home health, but many of these offices are tiny rooms with nobody inside. All they have is a sign on the door saying that the employees are out on a break. The companies in this building alone received over $66 million in federal funding over the past few years. But what's the problem? What are home health companies and how do they work? And why is the government cracking down on them? Home health companies are supposed to pay workers to care for elderly patients in the elderly's home. It's a legitimate and important service. But in many of these cases, the employee is just someone being paid to take care of their own parents while their employer bills Medicaid for the service. In other words, you get paid by a company to help your mom take out the trash, and the company gets paid by the government for providing care to the elderly. Rosiak has released 4 parts of what will be a 5-part series, and I won't go through all of that, but I will mention one specific instance of fraud just so you can understand the incentive structure that the government has set up. A woman ran a janitorial service, meaning she cleaned homes and took out trash. She rebranded her company as a home health provider and then billed Medicaid $100,000 in the first month. Because the government's background checks on these companies are loose, to say the least, people who provide basic services are encouraged to rebrand themselves and then get free money from the government. That's the type of system that the White House is now stepping in to freeze. I highly recommend heading to the Daily Wire and reading the full report. 4 parts are out now. But I just wanted to give you the basics of it. What I want to really focus on is the Democrat response to the White House's announcement. They'll be freezing funding for these home healthcare companies and won't be accepting any new applicants until this is resolved. And I want to focus on the Democrat response because their response has been essentially the same across all discussion of fraud this year. Crickets. They are ignoring this. I checked all the major Democrat leaders, from Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, AOC. If the Democrats were smart, they would be cheering this. They should even be upset at previous administrations for letting this sort of fraud go unchecked for so long. Why? Because every dollar lost to fraud is a political argument against the entire system, the Democrat system. Because the Democrats are the party of social welfare. Their coalition depends on the public trusting that the government handout system is working as intended, that their money is going to people who actually need it. There's a strong cultural instinct in America toward independence, toward building something, supporting yourself and your family through your own work. But along with that cultural instinct, there's also a broad understanding that sometimes people need help. And in a country as wealthy as the United States, the political debate is over how much of a safety net the United States should provide, how much of an extra boost the country should be giving to these people. But any support for a welfare state depends on trust. So when we all, collectively, find out that the boost has become nothing more than a get-rich-quick scheme for foreigners, public opinion on handouts can change fast. It makes us, as a people and as a nation, look weak. It makes us look dumb, like we're willing and okay with being exploited by the people we are supposedly helping. It erodes trust in the welfare system, which is why Democrats should be celebrating the news today. They should want to find all those who are taking advantage of the system, taking advantage of Americans, and stopping payments to them. If prosecutable, prosecute those committing this Medicaid fraud. Show the Americans and their Democrat constituency that their money is being put to good use and not going to foreigners who are leeching off the system. But instead, Democrats are ignoring it. They're laser focused on lying to you about the Supreme Court or lying about things that Donald Trump says. They want your focus away from the fraud that they let run rampant for years, hoping that if they don't talk about it, their constituency will think that it's not a big issue. But one day, hopefully today, a story like this will break the containment that the Democrats are setting up around it. Because when a story like this does break containment, it makes a few more of their moderate base realize that they are being lied to by their party. And for some, those questions won't stay confined to this single issue. The questions will spread. A few moderate Democrats will wake up tomorrow and say, if the Democrats hid this from me, what else are they hiding? Are they lying to me about the Supreme Court, about Donald Trump? Maybe I should go listen to what the Republicans are saying rather than just blindly believing the Democrats. Democrats can ignore the fraud, but they can't ignore what fraud does to trust in their system. Once that trust is gone, it is incredibly hard to build back. Subscribe and like the video for more from me. I'm trying to build a brand based on honest, reasonable takes and not the performative outrage you get from so many online these days. If that resonates with you, subscribe and head to my Substack to get new releases emailed directly to you. With that, I'll see you next time. Thank you.